So in this lecture, I'll be giving you an overview of another overview paper. Okay, so this the way we would do it is there are lots of application. Okay, so there are two parts to the class, right? There's some introduction to quantum mechanics and associated methods, and then there are lots of applications. Almost we can teach 1 or 2 semesters in any of the applications, but because of its fundamental importance, I'm elaborating on catalysis because it has a wide implications for all branches of engineering. But there are 2 other applications that are also important, and one is on batteries and others on separation process. I will give you 2 lectures. I mean, if it had been an in-person class, 2 lectures in 2 in-person class, I would have given one on this paper, which we're going to discuss, and another on separation. We'll talk about it later. So this paper, which I think I mentioned at the beginning of the course, is on computational understanding of lithium-ion battery. So this is from Ceder's group. He was for a long time he was at MIT, and then he moved to, I think now he's at UC Berkeley, right, as a materials engineer. They've contributed a lot to this field, to the design of lithium-ion batteries from computations, which has been implemented experimentally by some other groups, and so on. Okay, so this gives you I'll send you this paper. It's a very good paper. So what's the idea here? Okay, so the way we'll be doing it is I will be giving a very brief overview. Okay, and there are lots of references in this paper. So what you should do for your project is take up some method. Okay, so if you don't have, we can discuss it, we can iterate. Okay, so ultimately I want you to put some thought. Okay, you have to come and then we'll iterate and agree on what you'll work on. And then there should be 2 parts for the project. One is on deeper methods, okay, because which should be application of quantum mechanics, some mathematical framework should be there. That is one part. And then how do you use that on a particular application? Okay, for example, with respect to catalysis, it can be a particular class of reaction. Okay, or in this case, I will see. Okay, so my hope is this overview paper this overview paper will give you an understanding of what can be done with respect to batteries, right? So okay, let's go on. So what are the main things which we want to look at when you're thinking about batteries? Okay, so what are the dominant things? We started with this, what does voltmeter measure, right? So we are thinking about in a battery. Okay, so we are interested, okay, in the field level. Okay, when the battery is used, what are you typically interested? Okay, so you are interested in voltages. Okay, voltage, open circuit voltage, equilibrium voltage, and then OCP, open circuit potential, open circuit potential, then voltage profile, right? So see, there is the chemical energy of a redox system is being converted to electrical energy, electrical potential. Okay? So as the chemical composition changes, the chemical potential available in that system also changes. Okay, so the voltage at the start of the discharge of a battery is not the same at the end. Okay, so the voltage changes in a particular manner. So you won't have a very flat voltage profile. That's not possible. We'll see. Okay, so you're interested in voltage profile. Then you are interested in charging and discharging uh, as rapidly as is possible. Okay, so the difference between a capacitor and supercapacitor, ultra supercapacitor, okay, capacitor and a battery is that the rate of charge discharge, okay, charging and discharging. Capacitors can do it, you can discharge the capacitor very, very rapidly. Battery also, uh, we want the battery to be able to be charged rapidly, okay? Because supposing you want to drive an electric car, okay? So what is the main constraints? If you are charging it with petrol, okay? Petrol, it takes few minutes. If you pour petrol into the car and you're ready to go. If you have an electric car, that's not possible unless you replace the battery. Even that takes time because the batteries are large. Okay, in an electric vehicle, batteries cannot be replaced so easily. Okay, so in normal car, petrol car, there's a car battery involved, but that's only for starting. Okay, a few things. Okay, so that can be lead acid batteries typically used. That doesn't really contribute too much to running of the car. But in an electric vehicle, the battery is the main energy power source for running the electric car. Okay, so that cannot be replaced. Okay, in fact, that takes 1/3 of the car weight, cost, and so on. But however, you would still like to charge that battery very quickly. It takes few hours of time. You want to charge it as rapidly as possible, and uh, so that very much depends upon ionic mobility. Okay, so ions are the things that move shuttles between the electrodes. Ionic mobility at three places. Okay, one on the cathode. Okay, so that's what we'll be dealing with a lot. Okay, uh, but also the mobility. How do you generate uh, highly conducting electrolytes? Okay, that's also important. And ionic mobility, for example, in this case, lithium ion mobility at the anode. That's also important. All right. And even though we will be talking about charging the battery quickly, the converse of discharging the battery, okay, that also has the ionic mobility has a lot of implications to that issue also. All right. And the third issue, which we'll be interested is on thermal and electrochemical stability. Electrochemical stability. This is a very important issue. For example, Indian conditions. Okay, so India is a higher temperature in general. So, are some batteries with that are, let's say, uh, stable or suitable in a colder Western climate might not be stable in India. I mean, that might not be suitable in India. Okay, so how do you think about this issue? And then electrochemical stability, especially of the electrolyte. We'll see how do we think about this. For example, if you yeah, we will talk about it. The greater the voltage the battery can generate, the constraints on the kind of electrolyte which you can use is limited. The constraints are harsher constraints. Okay, it's more challenging. So these are the issues that, let's say, an experimentalist, a design engineer, would like to have information about. Okay, so unfortunately, fortunately, and that's why we are doing this class. Okay, this is very good material for this class. First, it's a very, very relevant problem, especially for places like India. You have a lot of solar energy available in India, but it is not very easy to employ solar energy for large-scale application, because the other part of solar energy is energy storage. Okay, so solar energy converts solar energy to electrical energy, but where do you store this energy? So that it's ready to use at a later point. Okay, so unless you address this issue of batteries, solar energy is not going to be very easy to be deployed in India, right? So fortunately, all these three questions can be addressed computationally. Okay, so how do you calculate voltages, voltage profile? We do this in our lab. Okay, we experimentally measure the voltages and experimental voltage profile. We also computationally model them, and then ionic mobility. Okay, again, this is a very important question. We've done some work on this, and then this is also an important question. Okay, so this paper was published, I think, in 2016. Okay, so this is not this is fairly recent, I would say. Of course, it's an extremely it's a rapidly evolving field because it's a very hot problem. Like as you might know, in 2019, okay, the Nobel Prize for chemistry was given to three scientists who worked on batteries. Okay, one was in two of them. One was all the time associated with industry in industrial setting, and then the other person who worked in industry made important contribution, moved to academia. The other person, good enough, was always in the university setting. Okay, so they made a tremendous contribution to batteries, the field of battery research. So we will look at that. So this is sort of the introduction. So the way I want you to go over this paper is listen to the lecture, go to this corresponding section of the paper. Okay. You may not be able to understand all the details because it's a huge body of research has been summarized in these few pages. But what I want you to understand, for example, there is something called cluster expansion method for computing voltages and voltage profile. Okay, so that is one part of the project. Okay, that's an application of quantum statistical mechanics to compute voltages and voltage profile. Okay, so that's a good package. These two things. How do you use? First, you have to understand these methods, and then how do you use them in a variety of lithium-ion battery, sodium-ion battery. Okay, so what are the real issues involved? Okay, so that has an application that has some fundamental issues. Okay, so I want you to go to the paper and then see what interests you. Okay, and then come back to me, and then we will exchange notes, and then you can pick up a topic. Okay, so it also gives you an overview, and also I want this whole paper to serve as a seed for you to choose a good project. Okay, so we will get into each section in different lectures.